Okay, we continue with Hilchos Ribis from Shulchan Aruch HaRav. All right, so now we're going to initially just, without getting into all the details, he introduces types of Ribis, and now he is introducing Ribis Bizman. Things that are prohibited for Ribis, even if the loan is not due yet, right? So last time. So let's let him talk. If you remember what we did in part two, the Rav, taught us about, how there's a problem with Rabbanan. Again, if it's not state, it's baked in. It's Ribis Doraisa, any type of perks for having offered the loan. But say to offer a gift to make the loan, Ribis Mucheres, Mukdemes, I meant. Offer a gift to prompt the guy to give a loan is Ribis Mukdemes. To have given him something and gradually offer those is Ribis Mucheres. And we gave some criteria of how of when that's osir, because it's midrabanan. So say left some loopholes in that. But that again it wasn't baked into the agreement itself. You just happened to offer a gift to make him issue a loan, or gave him a gift in gratitude of the loan, but wasn't part of the term loan, right? All right, but now we're talking about during the time of the loan, not before, not after. So long as the love still owes money to the mob, the borrower still owes money to the lender. The Divya over here, since the loan is active, it's not pre-loan. It's right. The lender owes the borrower. The lender is not allowed to do anything for the I meant the borrower. The borrower cannot do anything for the lender, right? Even if he didn't say, hey, I lent you money, so show some gratitude and do this for me. If the lender never even said such words, the borrower cannot do anything for the lender, even something small, nothing. It's all prohibited, right? That's mamish ribis because it's during the time of the loan. So when the loan gets paid back, he'll have the repayment plus the little favor you did for him during. Right? So during is always also. We had loopholes for a gift before the loan in order to prompt the issuing of the loan, and we had loopholes for a gift after the loan. Certain loopholes there, certain only a few. Like we said, referred to last session, and it's going to come up again later. But during the time of the loan, mid-loan, everything's osir, right? Let's say it's even a mitzvah. Like I'm going to learn. Let's say I'm the borrower. I'm going to learn some Torah. With I'm going to tutor the son of the lender. Torah shebechsav, so Torah for sure, right? Where you're allowed to charge. Right, so it's so for sure you gave him you gave him a real service, because as I recall, the reason why he's being machal, because I do believe for Torah Shebechsav you're allowed to charge for actually teaching, because schar pisuk tamim, how to correctly pronounce things, the trup. It's not just you're allowed to charge because it goes beyond the information of Torah. They're supposed to give for free, ideally, right? Ideally, that's the halacha. That which we charge for teaching, that's bitul malacha. Because if not this, I would have been able to do something else. So you're causing me to not earn money during the time I'm sitting with you. Or alternatively, if it's a kids, I'm babysitting. Or alternatively, you give it to me as stalker, not as paying me for the Torah I gave you. All right. But the halacha is you could charge for Torah shebechsav because schar pisuk tamim, helping him with the pronunciation. It's beyond the information. It's the pronunciation and how to do the trop. But it's a chiddush, Torah Sheba'al Peh, which you're supposed to teach mamish for free. Still, it's osir to do that for the son of the lender. The borrower cannot do that. Not tutor even in Torah Sheba'al Peh, which you're not supposed to charge for anyway. So say it's not a service of monetary value because you're not supposed to. No, still osir to, let's say, tutor the son of the lender in Torah Shabbat Peh. Right? Because of that, Schalam Lamed Acher. Val Picha Chad Medin Lis Schalam Lamed the Torah Shabbat Peh. Mikol Kev Shinogu Akol Skor Gama Mal VeHaya Socher Reizim and Hagel Mashim Lamed Beno Chinam. Maneh Shalom. Now, and this is of course told, right, so it seems that he gives you an out clause that since Torah Shabbat Peh really shouldn't be charging for. But this father, this lender, he would hire someone to learn, or he does hire people to learn with his son Torah Shabbat Peh. So now you're saving him money. So even though ideally it should not be a service that saves him any money, because he's not chayev to spend money to teach his son Torah Shabbat Peh. Right? But since the father is indeed in the habit of taking tutors for his kids, so you're now tutoring the kid in Torah Shabbat Peh, saves him money, right? Because he happens to, right? So now you're giving him benefit by learning with his son for free, right? So now it sounds from this, right? Right. So now two things over here. It's only usher to learn with the son of the borrower, son of the lender. Please forgive me. Obviously, borrower cannot give any benefit to the lender. And borrower, so it's usher for the borrower to learn with the son of the lender, Torah Shabbat Peh, which ought to be taught for free, right? That is, if the loan is active, That's Chazal prohibited it because the loan is still active. Right, which makes it worse. It looks as if it's baked in. It's what it looks like, even though it's not. It wasn't stipulated, but it looks as if it's baked in because it's while the loan is active. It's worse than either before the loan or after the loan. It's during the loan, so it looks like as if it was part of the deal. Looks like it, feels like it. So that's reason number one. That's criterion number one. Criterion number two is you are indeed saving him money because he does hire tutors to learn with his son Torah Shabbat Peh. So you are saving him money. All right, so under those two criteria, it's also to tutor the son of the lender in Torah Shabbat Peh. And Torah Shabbat is always also because he's obligated to, Torah Shabbat is he's obligated to spend money to teach his son Torah Shabbat, right? Right. Right. Okay. Right. So Torah Shabbat always usher, and Torah Shabbat Peh, right? Torah Shabbat always usher while the loan is active. Torah Shabbat Peh is also while the loan is active if the lender is in the habit of paying for his son's Torah Shabbat Peh education. Okay. Now, even to say a nice word, because like you meet him in the street, and it's while the loan is active. We're talking about the loan's active. Say, thanks so much. This loan was a lifesaver. You're the best. Usher. That's usher. Of course, this is all talking about Darbon because it wasn't stipulated in the as part of the terms of the loan. But still usher because during the loan, it's all usher. Right? So you can't praise him for having given a loan or usher or thanking him profusely for giving you an extension. And now, what does it mean to speak to him nicely in regards to the loan or in regards to saying, "Loan could go like the show"? You go out of your way to greet him, like you run across the street, right? Right. Right. You run across her. You say, because of course, if he says hello to you, you can say hello back. But you go out of your way to greet him. It's lakdim lo shalom. Unless, of course, you always, that's where you are. You're a friendly guy, or that's your relationship with this guy. You always, if you see him, always rush to greet him and say good morning. But when you're not in that habit, and you're doing it now in gratitude for the loan. That's why you're being so nice to him. So it's usher while the loan is active. Right, but of course, that's only if you're going out of your way, doing something different. You're treating him differently. You're speaking to him nicer than you usually do because of the loan, right? So, and even this is only also while the loan is active. Okay, and that's just to say hello to him, going out of your way to say hello when that's not the way you generally interact with him, you know, prior to the loan. So just saying, just running to greet him is also kavachomer to praise him effusively, or laxical tova, right, or to even say thank you and to when a guy comes, and he wants to borrow something, whatever. You just you can't do favors for him, right, or even thank him, or to bless him. Al Shavo, and this is all because you're doing it because he lent you. Or because he extended the time. Shenemar, as it says, Neshech kol davar sheishach afil dibur aser, that it's low down pasuk. Neshech kol davar correct as dibur. Kol davar sheishach, that's part of the neshech, the extra bite that you take. The interest is kol davar sheishach afil dibur aser, right? Even a dibur. Now, as before, I should point out, this is just a remez, but it's only also b'drabanan. It could be also doraisa if it was stipulated in the loan. Aside from paying me back in full, you will also greet me and praise me. Of course, then it could be a problem of a doraisa. Of course, we're not talking that was stipulated and baked into the agreement of the loan. But this is all midrabanan. Drabanan found a remez that it is proper to even prohibit, right, going over the top in how you greet him and how you talk to him and how you compliment him, right? Right, and they were only gozer while the loan is active, because while the loan is active, it looks really bad. It looks as if it was baked in. Now let's say like this, the loan was for 30 days, all right, and you need an extension. You do need an extension. Now, you want to butter the guy up, so he should give you the extension that you want. Well, like this, Chazal did not outlaw asking nicely for an extension, but but without the praises and without chani, without flattery or things like that. So because again, while the loan is active, even any favors, including nice words, are usher. So if you need to ask for extended loan, you could beg him and say, I need it bad. And that Chazal didn't outlaw because you're just begging, for what you need, but say you're the best. Oh, you're such a tzaddik. And I'm going to let the whole world know how you did this favor for me. Okay, that's usher. That's usher while the loan is still active. Okay. Right. So now this prohibition that even nice words are a issue of ribis. We just discussed how it's a problem with Rabbanan while the loan is active. This as we learned, when it comes to money, the prohibition both on the lender to give and from the malvet to accept. It's the same thing when the ribis is, the interest, the extra is coming from this flattery and nice words. The malvet, the lender, also he is not allowed to participate in ribis devarim, right? Kagon, right? He is the one who has the isur, right? Kagon. For instance, Shloyo Marlo Hodeni Melva Ploni Makam Ploni Leploni. Ribis Dvarim doesn't necessarily be flattery. Let's say he asks, hey, I'm lending you this money, so I want some inside information, or let me know. So and so, I'm tracking the movements of so and so. Let me know when that so and so moves from place A to place B. So even though you're not really demanding any of it, because you're not asking, let's say, to go and spy on the guy. You're just saying, you happen to know, tell me. You hear that the guy's, coming to town, let me know. Like the Malved demanded that from the Love. Right? And all he demands was, tell me that information. Even asking, go look, just you hear, Let me know what you heard about that guy's movements. Of course, this prohibition is that that the lender is expecting this favor because he extended the loan. But if, let's say, they're, these two guys, for lack of a better word, spy for each other. I mean, they always share information. And it's like, it would be strange if he didn't let you know anything you're interested in letting in, and anything you're interested in finding out. Right? So then, then it's mutter. It's only because you're asking for this special favor. Special out of the ordinary favor to give you information, even though it's just words, just give you information. It's usher if that's, if it's clearly coming because you just extended a loan to him and you want the, so you expect this extra favor, and this wasn't how you guys interact with each other prior to the loan. But now, you're asking this favor because you just gave him a loan. So, the borrower feels kind of subjugated, he feels humility in the face of his lender and never wants to say no. And so this is called Ribis. If the lender, right? If the lender demands this type of favor, it's just a verbal favor, give me information, then he's not even asking him to go out and spy. He's just asking, you here? Let me know what you heard. That alone, if the lender is demanding it from the borrower because now the borrower just would not have the guts to say no after the loan, that's Ribis. If you might ask, but isn't there is a pasuk that says Eved love ish malve. Hey, it's the way it is. The borrower is a slave to the lender. It's a pasuk, and we learn out some halachas. Yeah, but it says the Rav Shulchan Aruch. That din of Eved love ish malve is a special din, which is in Choshen Mishpat, and it's as far as, let's say, there's contention between them. Like, look, the lender the borrower, you'll forgive me for mixing it up, right? The one who took the loan out, the borrower, admits that there was a loan, but they're having a fight as to how much he owes or something, regarding the loan. Everyone agrees there was a loan, right? They're having a fight over the particulars. One of the privileges of being the lender, the malveh, the lender, is that he chooses the beis din. Right, he could demand, right? He command to go. He said, "Listen, the beis din that you want to go to a small. I want to go to a better beis din. I want to acknowledge it's a bigger beis din." The malveh could force the lovet to go to the bigger beis din. The lovet could, but if it's reversed, the malveh is happy with the local beis din, and the lovet says, "No, it is a big din Torah. We gotta go to that choshva beis din over there." So the lovet can't force the malveh. If the malveh wants to go to the local beis din, that's fine. But vice versa, the lovet wants to go to the local beis din, but the malveh said, no, we need that beis din agado. So the malveh has the upper hand. So the malveh could schlep the lovet to a bigger beis din that's bigger than the local beis din. The lovet cannot schlep the malveh there, right? And that's so the din of evet lovet ish malveh. The borrower is like a slave to the lender is limited to that halacha. It does not enable the lender to demand favors from the borrower. It's just the gabi, this one halacha. If there's a dispute between them regarding the loan, and everyone admits there was a loan, so the lender could force the loven to have to go to a bigger beis din than the local one. The lover does not have the reverse. If the lover would ask the same thing, the lover says, "I don't want to go to the local best. I want to go to that big one." He doesn't have that privilege. Okay, and that's it. That's what that halacha is limited to. That's what that pasuk was talking about, and nothing more. It does not empower. It does not authorize the lender to ask any favors from the borrower. Okay. Okay, so now, right, Now again, as we said before, in all these cases, all this is talking about that you're doing something different because of the loan. But if they always were this way with each other, helping each other out, informing each other, that was always, so there's nothing new or different happening because of the loan. It's all mutter. Not just going out, but intent is everything, right? Like a person, I'm so glad, the lender is asking me to do this now. I can ingratiate myself to him. I can flatter him a little bit because he gave me this loan. All right, intent would make it usher. It has to be like business as usual, literally business as usual in action and in mind and in heart. Business as usual, then it's no problem. Not only that, forget about tutoring the son of the lender that we spoke about that before. You can even learn with the lender himself, not just his son. If they were chavrusas before, right, or he was teaching him for free before, you're allowed to continue with business as usual. What Chazal answered, right? Of course, anything that's baked into the loan is also. We're not talking about that, right? We're not talking about that. But all these things that Chazal answered, that we've been learning about recently, all those stringencies that look like Ribis is if you're doing something different because of the loan. But if it's business as usual, you keep on business usual, right? Also, and not only that, business as usual, the heter of business as usual is even if you have a little bit of a loss from it. It's not just a favor that all right. The guy who's getting the favor obviously gains, and I didn't lose anything by allowing him that favor, by granting him that favor, even if you lose a little bit. Like, let's say you lend him a horse, for a journey, right? And the horse gets exhausted or the horseshoe gets worn, right? That is mutter if you would have lent him his horse, lent him your horse, right? Even before he extended you that loan. So business as usual is a heter even for zenenet v'zeh chaser, right? That the lender will get pleasure from this favor, and you will actually lose something. Like you lend him your car, and he's going to put 1,000 miles on it or more. And, he mentioned a horse, but he lived before the automobile was invented, right? But the best example, car. You lend the guy the car, he's going to put 1,000 miles on it. That depreciates the car, right? It's going to need an oil change sooner. But if you would, you would, again, you would is not the right word, because I'm sure, to decide all of a sudden you never lent them a car before. Yeah, I would have even before. Now is not a good time to start. Wait till the loan is long in the past, right? You don't know if you're being honest with yourself. This is my private recommendation. He is talking about where it's clearly mutter is that you have a track record. You used to lend him the car, even though he put a lot of miles on it. There's miles wear and tear. It hastens the need for a maintenance check and an oil replacement. But if you did it before, you could do it during the loan. Chazal did not did not outlaw any of your normal interactions with each other, even during the loan, let alone before or after, right? They did not ask the normal interactions, but it has to be literally legit. This is the way you are with each other, right? Right. If again, this, by the way, it's as if the way you are with each other, even though even if it's a favor that it's just you and him are bosom buddies, you do it for. But most people wouldn't do it. Like you wouldn't lend your car to someone to put 1,000 miles on it. But you have a track record that you, the borrower, have lent your car to the lender. Sometimes put a lot of miles on it. not necessarily as much as he might put on now, but you've done it. Like, you do these types of favors for each other, even though the two of you would never do it for other people, but you do it for each other. Okay, so continue your relationship as usual, even though it's only special favors you do for each other. The two of you do it for each other on a regular basis, but even though the two of you, or no normal person for that matter, would do it for anyone else. But if the two of you have that track record, you do those type of big favors for each other, that zenen vizechaser, you actually, it costs you that favor that you did for him. Cost you, but you were doing it. You're doing it. Continue business as usual. If that's really the way the two of you were with each other, even though normal people wouldn't do that, and even though the two of you would not do it for anyone else. But since that's the way you were with each other, you can continue. And this is even true when there's depreciation, what you lend them, let alone if there's no depreciation. Right? But it all has to be, it all has to be, right? Right? It all has to be, in a manner of how you were accustomed before the loan took place. Vizelo nana korosh bais elom laskiro v'amar yeshlo bais shulchan aruch bor bechira v'lo yitzosoro afil mo vizel zemeon binyan shoyam mashil bais imayatzrachlo ifnei ava asur achar ava, right? Mipnei shu davar shofetz v'nir kol v'na kol yolim sheyu ovim ken mikolim v'nilam karibis chen shtash ba'avlo davar fasir kedira ba'bais. But here's two important exceptions to this rule. Two important exceptions to the business as usual heter. Right? Real estate and slaves, right? It's interesting that, real estate and avodim hukshul karkos, although that's not necessarily the reason here, even though we know in halacha there's a lot of common denominators between slaves and karka and real estate. But let's say like this, a house, right? So the guy lent you money and you've got a vacation home. And so the lender wants to go say, hey, can I use your vacation home? So now, first of all, it's categorically usher anyway. If that vacation home you rent, it's an Airbnb and you rent it out. Airbnb and you rent out, you're giving him that monetary benefit by not charging him. Definitely usher. But even if you don't, your vacation home, you give it out to everybody. You let people stay there. What do you care? You let people stay there. And so you're not losing anything, right? And now even if the lender is also not getting anything because he also has a house in that same town, right? So he can visit that town and he's got a place, but he wants to stay in your place for whatever reason. Makes sense. But he could easily stay, so he doesn't even have to take a hotel. The lender also has a vacation home. So he has a vacation which you can easily stay in, but whatever. He says, you care, I'm right around the corner. Let me spend the night here by your place, right? So you don't generally rent this, even though you generally don't rent it out. Right? You don't put it on Airbnb, because if you put it on Airbnb, so for sure, you're losing, he's gaining, right? Definitely also, right? But you're giving him a free rental. That's not okay. But we're talking about even if you don't rent it out, you give it out for free. And even if for him it's not even a real gain, because he also has a vacation home in the same place, right? So he doesn't really need your house. If you say no, you didn't lose anything. He'll just go to his house, just for whatever reason, right? He wants to spend the night in your place, Mazah Mishane, right? Still usher. You know why? Because real estate is public. And people don't know that you guys have a track record of letting each other stay in each other's houses. People don't know that. It looks like Ribis. By the way, we have this a lot of places in Hilchos Shabbos. You can't have, if you have your name on real estate, you can't have a goy doing malacha, or your real estate can't be open for business on Shabbos, Even though it's a type of malacha that if the guy would just, whatever, if the guy's doing it on his own, it has your name on it. Real estate has your name on it. We find this in other areas of Allah also. Real estate has your name on it, and it has your name on it in a public manner. Everyone knows this house, so it looks like Ribis. So even though it meets the criteria that we spoke about, you're not really gaining anything. I'm not really losing it. And we were in the habit. We like each other so much. Yeah, but that's when no one sees. Real estate is like farhesa. It's like public, and therefore chazal aser because it looks like you're doing him ribis, and from you that people learn to do ribis, and to say the slave has this, your slave has the same din as your real estate. It has a din as if it was bifarhesia, because a slave also, everyone knows this slave, back in the days when it was slavery, everyone knows this slave belongs to this guy. Slave is like real estate in a sense that his master's name is on him for the whole world to see, by reputation, just like your name is on your real estate for the world to see. So by real estate, it is also to let a person who you owe money to stay there, even if you don't rent it out, and even if it's not a real benefit for him because he also has a house, and even if you're in a habit of doing it for each other all the time beforehand, even that meets all the criteria, right? That still it looks like ribis to the eyes of the world, and Chazal answered it, and the slave has the same din as real estate. Right? We'll do one more. Right, the mitzvah basic connects called cross the sefer Torah litain the mitzvah clear because I'll be sure below alva asur meshu darsha. So since things done publicly, Chazal asur, even though all the criteria that should make it mutter have been met, but since it's in public, Marasayan, they asur it. So now it fits that category, fits into that category. Is you're the gabbai, and you give this guy an aliyah in the base knesses. You give him an aliyah. Even he says, even galila, you an aliyah, right? Or even to lane, he's not getting the aliyah. You lane, you do the galila, right? Even though, listen, as a gabbai, you got to give him these honors. If you're a fair gabbai, right? You have to give them these honors periodically. You have to mechabed everyone in the kila periodically. Look. Everyone's going to see how you're mechabed him. It's in front of everybody. And then they'll find out about the loan. And they'll associate. You must done because the loan looks like you did ribis. It's Dar Shofar. Okay, you do all the kol shein also can be shul shavo kol sheroga chablo korm chen chen bebais in darbo lifnei avo bechira midas mutter gam archa avo. But two loopholes for what we just said. Let's say you used to always give him shlishi. He always got shlishi. Right. He always got shlishi. You could give him shlishi, right? And no one's going to associate it with the loan, right? And that's assuming that it looks that way to the public. He's giving him shlishi like he always does. And the same thing with the house, going back to that, right? Let's say, this house that your guest house that you let the lender stay in, he used to stay there all the time. Like he had business there. So even before the loan, you had business there. Used to go, was a regular thing. Everyone knew, right? He goes, whenever he goes to Miami, he uses that apartment. Then it's mutter because the public also sees the track record, right? All right. Okay, we will stop here.